I remember it as if it were yesterday, though it's been over 3 decades since that dreadful night. It was 1987, and I was just 12 years old. My mom worked the night shift at the local hospital, leaving me alone in our old, creaky house from dusk till dawn. I was used to it, or so I thought. That night started like any other. Mom left at around 9 p.m., kissing me on the forehead and reminding me to lock the doors and windows. I nodded, feigning bravery, as I always did. Once she was gone, I settled in the living room with my comic books and a bowl of popcorn, the TV humming in the background. The clock struck midnight, and the house fell into an unsettling silence, the kind that presses down on you, making every creak and groan of the old house echo louder than usual. I shrugged off the unease, attributing it to the usual noises of our home. But then I heard it, a faint whisper, almost imperceptible. I paused, straining my ears. There it was again, a soft, indistinguishable murmur coming from upstairs. My blood ran cold. I was supposed to be alone. Swallowing my fear, I tiptoed towards the staircase. Each step felt like a journey through quicksand, my heart pounding louder than the whispers. "Alex!" I froze midway up the stairs. The whisper was clear this time, and it was my name. My eyes darted around, searching for the source. The closet door stood slightly ajar. Gathering every ounce of courage, I approached it and yanked the door open. Nothing. Just my mom's clothes swaying slightly as if disturbed by a breeze. But there was no breeze. I backed out of the room, my heart racing, and hurried downstairs. I locked myself in the living room, my eyes darting around, trying to pierce the darkness for any signs of movement. The TV screen flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Then, I noticed something that sent chills down my spine. The reflection in the TV screen showed the living room behind me, and there, barely visible, were shadowy shapes moving about. I spun around, but the room was empty. I turned back to the TV, and the shadows were gone. My breathing quickened, and I felt my pulse pounding in my ears. I tried to calm myself, convincing myself it was just my imagination, but the whispers returned, louder and more insistent. I covered my ears, but the whispers seemed to seep into my mind, growing louder and more frantic. "Alex, join us forever." I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed the phone and called my mom at work, my hands shaking so badly I could barely dial. She answered on the second ring, and I babbled incoherently about the whispers and the shadows. She told me to stay calm and that she would be home as soon as she could. The next hour felt like an eternity. The whispers continued, sometimes soft, sometimes deafening, always urging me to join them. I huddled in the corner of the living room, my eyes squeezed shut, praying for my mom to come home. Finally, the front door burst open, and my mom rushed in. The whispers stopped abruptly, leaving an oppressive silence in their wake. I ran to her, tears streaming down my face. She held me tightly, whispering reassurances, but I could see the fear in her eyes. We never spoke of that night again. Mom arranged to switch to the day shift, and I never stayed alone in that house at night. To this day, I don't know what those whispers were or where they came from, but sometimes, late at night, I still hear them, faint and distant, calling my name from the shadows. Years later, I discovered something that made my blood run cold. In the early 1970s, there had been a horrifying homicide in our house. A family of 4 had been brutally murdered, and their bodies were never found. The case went cold, but local legends whispered that the spirits of the victims still roamed the house, seeking new souls to join them in their eternal torment. The most chilling detail? The father had been a doctor at the same hospital where my mom worked. One night, he came home and, for reasons unknown, slaughtered his wife and 2 children before vanishing without a trace. Neighbors claimed they heard whispers coming from the house for weeks before the murders, and those whispers never stopped. Learning this, I realized the whispers I had heard were those restless spirits, forever trapped in the house where they met their gruesome end. This revelation has made my fear even more terrifying in my present age. Even now, as a grown man, the memory of that night haunts me, and the knowledge of the house's dark history only deepens my dread. So, if you're ever alone at night and hear your name whispered from the darkness, don't listen. Don't answer.